Well, very good morning, everyone. It's George Bairuthi here, giving you the market report for Wednesday morning, the 26th of April, 2023. Let's very quickly go and have a look and see what happened when we woke up this morning, and we found the Dow Jones was down 344 points. That is 1%. The S&P 500 was also down 1.6%, and the Nasdaq was down nearly 2%. Tesla in New York was down 1.2%, and Apple was down slightly below 1%. BHP and RIA, both in New York, were down at least 3.4%, as you can see here, 3.4 and 3.6% respectively. And in Europe, the Stoxx 50 index, which comprises most major European markets, was down 0.5%. That is on the back of the FTSE in London, down 0.3%. The CAC in France, in Paris, down 0.56%. And the DAX was almost steady, unchanged, with 8 points higher, with 0.05% higher. The ASX 200 on Monday, that's before the Anzac Day weekend holiday, was actually down 8 points or 0.1%, and the futures this morning indicate most likely the market will open slightly lower, 13 points or 0.2%. Gold this morning trading at 1,997 US dollars per ounce, up $8 or up 0.4%. Silver, on the other hand, $25.26, down 27 cents or down 1%. Brent oil slightly up, less than 0.1%, and West Texas crude oil down 2% or $1.66 US per barrel. Iron ore price down 45 cents to $116.80 US per ton, down 0.4%. And the Australian dollar is trading at 66.3 US cents, hardly changed. And it's interesting here, the 10-year yield in Australia is now slightly above the 10-year yield in America. That's because in America, the 10-year yield dropped by 3.3%. Is that an indication that the Federal Reserve may stay put on interest rate rises? But on the other hand, we have an indication that most likely, well, we don't know yet, but at least there is perhaps one more interest rate rise in Australia. Bitcoin this morning trading at 28,100, slightly up from yesterday morning, and that converts to approximately 42,500 Australian dollars. Remember, the highest level in Australian dollars was 88,900 sometime during the last 2 years, and then the last 12 months it dropped to 23,700, and you can see since that drop we managed to crawl back to 42,500. In America, the highest level the last 2 years was 66,800, dropping to 15,600 and recovering almost 50%, at least double the price since that last drop. Okay, now let's have a look at a slightly bigger picture. We have here the 3-day wrap up. Where are we? Here we go. We find that the Dow over the month, remember we had over 1 week we had 78 points drop. Forget about the 344 points overnight, but over 1 week it's actually down 78, and over the month the Dow is actually still up 3.8%, the S&P 500 3.3%, and the Nasdaq up 1.8%. However, over the last 12 months, you can see that the Nasdaq is down 8.4%, and let's say 6% drop over the year for the S&P 500, and let's say 3% drop for the Dow. Our market over the month up 5.4%. However, over the year 1.9%, let's call that 2%. Gold, even though it dropped $33 over the week, over the year still up 3.8%, 3.9%, and silver down nearly 5%. Copper, the economic global barometer, over the year is down 11.5%. And Brent and crude oil, both of them at least 18% down. Soybeans, that's what China is buying from America, I think. Well, it's down 3.4% over the last 3 weeks. Okay, let's move forward. Advance and decline. On Monday, 35% of all the stocks declined, but look at the volume. It was actually the lowest level in 15 days. And even on Friday, and also we had 34% of all the stocks declining versus 27% advancing, and the volume has actually for the last 5 days been declining. So what does that tell you? When the market is actually negative trend, in other words, the declines exceed the advances and the volume is going down, that's not too bad. But when the declines are higher than the advances and the volume is going up, that is actually very bearish. And if you look at here, 5 days cumulative, every bar here is actually 5 days. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 10, the declines exceeded advances, and 1, 2, 3, 4, advances exceeding declines. So we still have slightly bearish momentum in the market. And again, let's go back to what I was showing you per week. The week wrap, here we are. Over 1 week we dropped 0.4%, but you put 2 weeks together, we're down 1.5%. You put 3 weeks together, that we are actually up 2.1%, exceeding what we had. So we've seen here small drop last week, but if you put the week before and the week before cumulative together, over 3 weeks together, we're still up 2.1%. But I mean, we've had several days here of declines. And by the way, if the market goes up, it doesn't really mean that the majority of the stocks have actually advanced. Remember, the ASX 200 is actually made up mainly by the financial sector, the energy sector, and there are a lot of small companies in that stocks in that market that can show advances and decline as well. All right, let's move on. Let's go and see what we are trading. Our trading portfolio. Over on Monday, the market was down 0.1%. Our conservative portfolio was actually steady, and the momentum portfolio was up 1.1%. However, I managed to lose money on the aggressive portfolio and the volume portfolio. But if you look at when we started to trade again this year, this financial year, remember we closed all our positions before the end of June last year, and we set on nearly $250,000 on each of those portfolios, and we started to trade on the 7th of July. Now, since the 7th of July, the ASX 200 is up 10%. However, our conservative portfolio has outperformed the market, but we did not do as well for the other 3 portfolios. Now you go even down further than that, and see of the most recent weeks. Over the last 4 weeks, the market was up 5.5%, and we're slightly below for the aggressive and the conservative portfolio. We're almost the same for the volume and slightly below in the momentum. So let's go and see what we are trading inside these stocks. Again, 18%. Thank you to Mineral Resources, giving us nearly 42% return. Whitehaven Coal is giving us 36%, and BHP nearly 29% return. We're losing money on Commonwealth Bank, nearly 1%, and we're losing money on James Hardie, 1.4%. And the second best portfolio, that's 5.9. Here we've got here the volume-based. And volume-based portfolios, we look at the volume of the last trading day and compare that volume with the last 50-day moving average. And if the volume, the last trading day, is higher than the moving average over 50 days, we start to be interested. And of course, the fair value is taken also into consideration. If the fair value exceeds the last price, we are interested. Well, this portfolio, we managed to make some good profit on Mesoblast, Live 30, and Mayne Pharma. But we're losing money on ASX stock, that is the stock ASX, losing 2%. And you can see here on Monday, most of these stocks were actually down, with the exception of Mayne Pharma. Again, we had a negative day, as you can see, even for the conservative portfolio. The good trade for the aggressive portfolio, Appen giving us 15% return, Coronado 16%, and Sayona. And interesting, Sayona, Lake Resources, Core Lithium, Coronado, all of these are lithium-based companies. And Appen is a technology stock, and was down 1.7%, but still giving us 15.4% return. All right, other than that, WiseTech in the momentum portfolio giving us 43% return. Again, the first thing we do, the last price was $69.38, but the fair value is $56, which is actually lower than the last price. So we need to actually have a good look at that and say, why do we keep WiseTech when giving us 43%? Because we might take some of that profit away, or maybe we actually close half. All right, we're going to review this fair value. All right, so we're giving you an indication that we have 4 portfolios. Each portfolio is based on different strategies, and all of those strategies focus on the fair value as well. All right, let's have a look at the American market. We're not doing too well in the American market, as you can see here. Since the 7th of July, we're up only 1%, when the S&P 500 is up 6% and the Nasdaq is up 4%. So we're not doing too well here, and the reason for that is because of what we are trading. Netflix is giving us some good profit, but Novavax, the last price is $8.60, and the fair value supposedly $53. Again, we're going to review this. $53. It's 6 times the last price. Why is it so low? Also, we're losing money on Tesla. We got in at $243, unfortunately. But at $165 at the moment, maybe we're going to increase our position by doubling and reduce that loss. Alright, so that's the American market. Now let's have a look at advances and declines. We mentioned that here 35% was actually down. I think we've covered that. So let's move on. Volume-based portfolio. Okay, Woolworths on Monday was steady. However, the volume was 12% of 2.26 million versus 2 million. That's the 50-day moving average. So it's 12% extra volume. And it's trading at $37.56, and the fair value is $34.36, so we're not going to worry about that. And all of these are bearish. If you want to go bearish, Texas units, if we can actually go CFD sell before you buy, $7.50, the fair value is $11.40. In the mid cap, if you're a bit of a gambler, Adair Limited was down 1.3%, and the fair value is $4.95 versus the last price of $1.97. And Bet Makers was down nearly 3%, and the volume was 6 times, was dumped. But then the fair value is 96 cents. Again, we need to review that and see why has it dropped so much and the volume was so high. We need to look at that. Alright, now let's have a look at which sector daily stocks. Most active weekly. Week on week, Telix Pharmaceutical Company was up 29%. The fair value, an average of $7.90, but it closed at $10. It moved up from over the week, $7.73 to $10. However, the fair value is $7.90. We're going to really dismiss that. The next one is PointsBet. If you're a gambler, you know about PointsBet. It was up 13.4% from $1.30 to $1.44 over 1 week, and 4 cents over on Monday, and the fair value is $2.43. Again, we are moving very fast, but all I really want to tell you, if you want a copy of this whole document, all you have to do is actually call us, and I'll give you the details on how to communicate with us later on, and that will give you the whole document, and you can sit down slowly and surely and look at all these data at your own free time. On Friday, Nanosonic was up 7.5%, and the fair value average is $3.70 versus $5.60. We're not going to worry about that. Going down this range, looking for big numbers. Here we've got Incanex Healthcare over on Monday was up slightly from 11.5 cents to 12. It's a small company with $190 million market capitalization. However, the fair value is actually 47 cents versus 12 cents, nearly 4 times. Another figure, Red 5, was up 0.5 cent Again, fair value is $1. 7 versus 6.5 cents. And the target is $2.24, trading at 60.5 cents. Alright, let's move on. This is my communication details. You're ringing from Australia is 0411 25 9526. If you're ringing from overseas, it's 61, the country code 61. You don't need the 0. 61 411 25 9526. You can also send me an email to George at FS. FS stands for full service. George at fssecurities.com.au. Well, that's all from us here at FS Securities. Trade safely and wisely. Have a fantastic day, and we'll communicate with you several times during the week.